First, what is your name and occupation, sir?
Okay, so my name is Eric Ehrlich, and the spelling of that last name is on that paper because it's a tricky one.
Right.
And then my title is Interpreter and Resource Specialist.
What's it like working at the park?
It's wonderful. I get to come to an outdoor place and meet new people every day. I get to see wildlife every day. And so, yeah, my work is pretty rewarding.
Very cool. Are there any exotic wildlife that you've seen so far?
Yeah, we get all kinds of stuff that, washes up, animals-wise. And we have injured animals that we deal with a lot, getting them to the rehab facility.
Right.
And then, of course, we have endangered species that use the park's resources as well. So there's for example, there's a bird called a piping plover. And it's a really small bird that nobody would really notice, but it's pretty popular among birders. And then we have the Kemp's Ridley sea turtle, who's endangered. They sometimes nest here in the park. We get to interact with them then.
Very cool. And what's your perspective of the park as an employee, as opposed to the perspective someone of the general public might have?
The general public, when they're here, sometimes they have their blinders on. So it's either two types of people. People that nitpick every little blade of grass that's out of place, versus the people that come here and they're on vacation and they're just happy to be on vacation and nothing could bother them. So, we see both types of individuals here, and so that gives us an inside perspective of what the park looks like through their eyes. So, I grew up here, so whenever I see parts of Padre Island, I see the good part, which is all the wildlife and the natural habitat, and then I see the bad part, which is sometimes the human impact on that environment, which, people driving through sand dunes or leaving trash or, discharging gray water, black water, where they're not supposed to, things like that. And so, at our park, we have, it's a salty air environment. I saw that you're a local area code on your phone, right?
Yes, sir.
So you know all about things rusting, and so that's just magnified here at the park. All of our vehicles, we're constantly having to do repairs like brake lines and brake pads that rust really fast. And then if you get really close and start looking at the structures of the building, all the rebar inside the concrete has started to rust and swell, and that's making the concrete break and chip. So, we see that stuff, and we see the rust, and we try to deal with it as best as we can. And most visitors, they don't, as long as they have some place to shower and use the restroom, they're happy.
Do you have any stories about working at the park that you'd like to share?
Any stories? Let's see. Well, one of my fondest memories is, of course, helping with Kemp's Ridley turtle, who laid a clutch of 102 eggs.
Wow.
And so what they do is when that happens, there's a special facility at the National Seashore where they incubate the eggs and then release them in a controlled environment where they can keep predators away, like laughing gulls and certain other types of birds that will just eat the babies, the baby turtles. So getting to participate in that was probably one of my better stories. And in my position, what I do is education outreach. So we get school groups that come and visit the park, or just we have programs for visitors. Like I do a watercolor tutorial, and we paint wildlife here in the park, and that's really rewarding because people really enjoy having to create or getting to create a keepsake that they can take home, and they created it, and it's a piece of art. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
What all can you do at the park?
So the big draw at our park is probably the biggest part of it is just relaxing on the beach. But a lot of people come here for fishing, surfing, bird watching, and swimming, and kayaking, things, outdoor type things. Those are the big ones there, surfing and fishing and bird watching. And then, kids that just want to come out and build a sandcastle, play in the sand. And we even in the fall and spring waterfowl season, we get duck hunters here.
Hmm.
So there's a diverse range of activities that people do here.
Right, so there's something for everybody.
Right, there's something for everybody.
Right.
I'm sorry?
So there's something for everybody then?
There's something for everybody then? Yeah, exactly.
And what do you know about the history of the park?
The park itself was opened in the early 70s, and when they built the park, they built these jetties that go onto the water. They're made out of granite, and they quarried those rocks up in the Marble Falls area and brought them down on trains and 18-wheelers. And the intent was that it was a natural opening created by a hurricane that goes from the Gulf into the estuary, which is Corpus Christi Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And so their intent was to keep that channel open for that water exchange, because that's what makes an estuary very vibrant and productive. But so they didn't really have any data back then. They didn't have any hydrographic data to kind of study the sand movement along the coast. And the jetty's silted in with sand, and the channel's not open anymore. But it's still a really hot spot for fishing, because the jetties themselves act like a nursery, and small fish can hide there, and it provides a place for predators to come and search out food, which would be, the kind of fish that people are trying to catch for dinner themselves. In the prehistory, before written history, the Karakwas were the main tribe of Indians that used source out here, and it was a thriving community. They were really healthy people because they ate a lot of seafood, and it's a harsh environment, so they were very, they had a lot of ingenuity to survive out here. And other than that, I don't have a lot of history that I usually talk to people about for that. So.
Well, thank you, sir. That's all my questions.
Okay. Alrighty, Clayton. If there's anything else you need, you've got my email. Just give me a shout.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Take care.
Yes, sir. You too.
Bye.